I have always said that the worst or the biggest threat to a nation is the threat that comes from within. The same way, the biggest, worst threat to your good mental health and your physical welfare is the damage that is caused from within, from your very own family, because your very own family has access to you, daily and regular access to you, and they can cause the biggest harm. I am talking about PTSD and trauma caused in childhood. I have written something because when you do videos, you only have so much time and you really want to organize your thoughts so that it's expedient and it is an efficient way of saying something. So I am going to read something that I put together. I have written books about this subject because, like you who suffered trauma as a child, there are millions and millions of people. So I just put something together, and I hope that after you finish listening to it, you don't feel like you're alone in going through whatever you're feeling. You're not the only one. There are millions of people, and believe you me, you're going to be okay. I give no medical advice, and I am not in the mental field. I am not a psychologist or a therapist. So if you are depressed or are having serious problems or something of concern, you will want to seek a professional. This is no professional advice at all, but I do write books about my personal experience, and I have researched PTSD and childhood trauma pretty extensively. So here's what I wrote. If you came from a scapegoating family and you were the main target and person to blame for everything bad happening in the home or to your family, chances are you were born later in the birth order. You might be the youngest of the siblings or one of the last to have been born in your family. There's a very interesting book written about that by another author. I am always hesitant to encourage others to read books which they might or might not find helpful. So I'm not going to talk about the author, but there is a book out there that speaks precisely about the order of birth and how it affects the parents' behavior. From physical fights amongst the siblings, to physical fights between your parents, to ridicule, berating, shaming, triangulating, gaslighting you, and feeling like you are surviving boot camp, not living your life. Now, as an adult, when you recruit or employ, the only tools you learned or had to learn on your own, not only are they not sufficient to survive the workplace, adult relations, and marriages, but the very family that caused your trauma and those problems is the very group now shaming you for your failures and lacking sympathy for not employing more calculating, deceitful skills to survive the world. For instance, instead of becoming financially independent, just marry someone who is financially independent and then act or behave as if you can now give financial advice to others. Instead of letting your natural individual personality shine through, force a smile and create a public persona that everyone will accept. Because in the abusive family unit, popularity and outside acceptance are more valid forms of currency than morality and truths. You now, as an adult, do not belong to the corrupt, phony society, but you cannot ask for governmental help, as you will be denied since you don't have the proof. Proof requires documentation that you can only obtain when you can afford to pay a professional who deals with trauma. We have to speak out about what happened in our very own family systems and what is currently happening to you as a consequence of the indoctrination that instills the idea that family is exempt from causing you harm and that loyalty means keeping their secret. Victims should never carry that burden. Here's one friendly suggestion, not to be mistaken for any professional advice, for you must gauge your own individual unique situation. But in my experience, now as an adult, you don't have to fear the abuser any longer. Once you stop giving them access to your person and your personal life, the threat to your mental and physical health or well-being should be utterly removed. Those you must fear now are the ones who have awareness of your story but refuse to take sides, because this in turn translates to their taken sides for the abusers.